Unfortunately, I don't think the camera caught any of that. What I was able to do here was jack this up, and I put this brick under it at a jaunty angle so that when I let the pressure back down, that brick tilted over and took the wall with it, and it was able to sit down on the rock, or pretty close to it. And it's pretty straight. I noticed when I checked that that wall is out just a little bit at the bottom, and I believe that one as well. And now this one, with the way this sat in, is not exactly plumb, but is out a little bit more in line with the other ones. So I think this wall is good to go. As far as level goes, the way I'm doing these beams here and, just setting them, trying to get them in the right place, I know that level is kind of, you get what you get here. Just taking what I get. Can't really argue with that too much. Well, I got busy and I stopped hitting the record button, so you get to see the progress up to this point. The bottom beam is in. I tied it into the old beam with 4x4 paired up with a 2x4 on top and a 2x4 on the side. I put my side studs connected straight to the upright beams, and then I put these studs. And I spaced this out just right so that when I put the window back in, I've got room to put a casing around the window and make it fit properly with a sill and all that fancy stuff. If I were to stop here with the framing, I think it would already be better than the old one was, but I'm not going to stop. I'm going to put 2 more studs in here. I'm going to put cross braces between them. I ran out of wood and I ran out of screws, so when I get some more supplies, I'll get back in here and finish up the framing, and then I can pick through my pile of old oak and see what goes back on and see what's going to go into the project pile. I'm going to go up to the lumber store and find some new oak and do up the outside. So this is a pretty good start. I've got my wall fleshed out a little bit more. Got my studs, got my cross braces. I've even framed in for my window, so let's check see what that looks like. Yeah, it's a little rough. It doesn't quite match, but I'll clean it up a little bit, but not too much. Now I've made it a little bigger because I'm going to put a casing around it. it'll be something like this. That's a little bit bigger because the sill has to lean up a little bit. It's going to have a little bit of a slope so the water runs off the other side, so that makes it a little bit taller. And anything additional than that I can just shim while I'm putting the casing together. So I think that looks nice. Well, there's the structure. I really don't think it needs more than that. My next step, I'm going to wrap the outside with tar paper before I put the oak up, just to kind of give a little more, not that. So block some of the breeze and seal up the inside a little bit before I cover the inside as well. So there we have it. We're back here putting this wall together. Now I'm down to the job, which is like that math problem that you hated in school. You've got, 5 boards with different widths, and you have a gap to fill of X inches. What combination of boards will best fit the dimension of X? So I do have all these different boards, some of which are the older ones that I reused, and some are going to be my new ones that I bought. And of course, they're all different widths. So I have to measure the gaps that I have and figure out what combination best fits, and then whatever's left over, I just have to rip one to width to fit the remaining holes. I do have enough for below the window here. I was able to rescue enough of that wood from the old barn siding. So I've got that accounted for, and this will account for most of one side, so I have to fill the equivalent of one side in the new oak, and I don't know what combination. It will probably be mix and match between the old stuff and the new stuff going across, and that might look the most natural. I don't know. Let's see what we come up with. Not a track saw, but it'll do. I just thought this was kind of interesting, just to see the inside of 100-year-old wood. Now I just ripped this the whole way down to get it a little bit more narrow, so now you can see inside the fresh wood that's never been exposed. And you can see it's a little bit lighter on the inside, but on the outside, where it's been worn and weathered, you can see a little bit inside that it's discolored, just slightly toward the inside. So even if I were to take some of the roughness off the outside and clean this up a little bit to reuse, I would still get a little bit of that age on the first couple of millimeters there. I think that's kind of neat. Just for clarity, this is the kind of thing I'm working with. You see, I've got enough boards for the one edge. I've got enough for under the window, starting to look pretty good. I've got them numbered. I don't know if you can see that in the sunlight and shadow. I've got them numbered. I've only got one screw in each one of these for now because, as I've probably over-explained, I'm going to strip these back off once I know where they go. I'm going to number them so I know, where to put them back in place. And I'm going to wrap this with tar paper before I put these back up, but at least I want to know what I have for dimensions. Now, you notice these ones in the middle, they're a little too tall, so I'm going to have to cut those down. And this guy comes out a little too far, so I'll probably, instead of ripping this one so narrow, this one kind of has a bad edge there, so I'm just going to reduce that one by the amount that I need over here, scoot them all over, and this is what I'm working with. So a little bit more to go, and this will all be, the new lumber. Well, there we go. Once I get it spaced out, I still have a few more to cut for above the window. I think what I'm going to do first is, get these marked so I know where they go, take them all back down, and then do the tar paper. Got my scissors, got my staple gun, got my roll of tar paper. I don't know how old this stuff is, but it's tar paper. Can't go bad, right? Right? Anybody? So it should go pretty fast. Now it's 36 inches wide, so that would do this in 2 passes, but I don't want to do that. I want it to overlap a bit because I've got this window bit that I want to, trim it and overlap it, and I'm going to make sure I have enough for that. So I'm going to be overlapping a whole lot more than I need to. guess I'm still economizing on screws. When I buy a new pack, I'll make it all right. So there we go. Well, it's another fine day in the red shed. It's a lot cooler today. There's a little bit of a breeze, so it should be a nice day to work in here. Yesterday, I finished up, or mostly finished up, the siding on the barn wall here. Today, I've got another project above this door, and I'll show you that right now. Sometime in the past, this siding wood was replaced above this door with a piece of plywood. So in order to restore some of the authenticity to this barn, I'd like to take that plywood out of there and put some of these, either some of the leftover old pieces of oak back in there or some of the new stuff if I run out. So that'll be the project for today. After that, what I might do is go to this window sash that I have earmarked for this hole and start sprucing it up a little bit. Up here, here's what I'm working with. Looks like this plywood goes underneath this tin. Has to be kind of tricky, but I should be able to slide it up under there. I can't really get any screws into it underneath there. I might be able to slide them in from behind if I'm careful with the screw lengths. I might be able to get them in that way, attach them from behind. This trim just comes off and I'll attach them there. I got to look at my scraps and see what I've got, because I'm going to need some that are, a little bit longer for this, and then tapering down to almost nothing. Here are the scraps I have to work with. We've got the old cutoffs from the original siding. For above the door, I'm going to need some longer pieces so I can pick through this and see which ones work. I also have the offcuts from the new boards, so I can pick from those as well, and I'll just see which ones work best in these applications. Alright, this right here is not really working for me. This is above the door. It's not quite long enough. It's not meeting this board. It's being held on currently, I think, by spider webs and wasp saliva. But in addition to that, there's a single nail in here that's not quite doing its job anymore. It's quite loose. So I've got to get a longer one of these. I'm going to replace it before I start adding things to it, because this isn't really going to do the job. Got my new beam, old beam back in place. Fits a whole lot tighter than the other one was. I even have it sitting on that little itty bitty ledge, which I think will give it a little bit more support. Get out of here, bee. So now I have this width to fill in with siding boards. This guy's looking a little bit rough, not even attached on the top. So I'm going to go ahead and replace him anyways. Now, I don't really even have to get, let's put you down there. I don't have to get real particular with the tops here. I don't even really have to figure out what the angle is, because I've got this flashing. I'm in your way. This flashing up here is going to hide some sins, because if I put this up, even if it goes up straight, once it gets tucked in there, you can't tell it's not cut off at an angle. So I just have to find enough of these to go across there. They should look all right. voila. A few more screws, a little bit of paint. I need a trim board across here, and I think it looks pretty good. Well, that pretty much does it for the outside of the barn. I think I've got it to where I wanted it to be. It's not red yet, but we'll take care of that. It's not done. Now I'm going to start doing inside stuff. So hopefully you'll stick around and watch some of that. We'll start new projects. See you then.